So it's a dance of democracy in South Korea, but elsewhere people are rejecting it. I'm talking about Nepal. On Tuesday, hundreds of protesters hit the streets of Kathmandu. And what did they want? Well, two things. One, to bring the monarchy back, and two, to make Nepal a Hindu state. Now, the turnout was quite impressive in this protest. Protesters waved flags and chanted slogans, but soon things turned violent. Riot police turned up to contain the situation. They used water cannons and batons. Take a look.
भेला भएर हामी यो व्यवस्थाको विरुद्धमा आएको छौँ, गणतन्त्रको विरुद्धमा आएको छौँ, संहिताको विरुद्धमा आएको छौँ। हाम्रो मुख्य एजेन्डा भनेको नै हिन्दू राज्य कायम गर्नु पर्यो।
How about that? Demanding a king in 2024. But what explains these demands? Well, there is context to it. For most of its history, Nepal was a Hindu kingdom. The last king was this man, Gyanendra. He was forced to abdicate after major protests in 2006. After that, two changes happened. The monarchy was replaced by a republic, and the new constitution guaranteed secularism. So Nepal is not a Hindu state anymore. But has this change worked? Well, stability has evaded Nepal. They've had 13 governments since the king abdicated. That's 13 governments in 18 years. So the people of Nepal have every reason to be angry. But is monarchy the answer? Mainstream parties do not think so. All of them have rejected this possibility. But one party has not. The same party that is leading this movement, it's called the Prajatantra Party, or National Democratic Party. It was founded in the 1990s by supporters of the king. Today, it's the fifth largest in parliament. Out of 275 lawmakers, this party has 14. Now, just to be clear, they're not asking for absolute monarchy. They're not saying cancel elections. They are saying cancel the republic. The Prime Minister will remain, the cabinet will remain, and so will the parliament. But instead of the president, a king would be head of state. A bit like Britain, that's the demand. Royalists say it will provide stability and protect Nepal's culture. Now, we've already discussed why this is a bad idea. Nepal's polity is already fragile. The last thing you need is a king. And that too a king with a tendency for autocracy. But tonight, let's focus on another aspect. The geopolitical impact of these protests. For example, how should India see this? We're talking about a neighboring country here. India and Nepal share a pretty long border. It's more than 1,850 kilometers long. So instability there is worrying. It could affect trade and people-to-people exchanges. The other factor is influence. And there are two camps here. One group says a Hindu Nepal would benefit India. It would stifle the pro-China communists. Another group says it's a slippery slope. If you abolish secularism, there will be global pushback. Maybe even economic sanctions. And that could push Nepal closer to China. After all, Beijing does not care about secularism. So sanctions for that matter. So this debate is likely to be a long one. Nepal did try to resolve it once in 2015. Like now, many protesters wanted to abolish secularism, to remove it from the draft constitution. So the Constituent Assembly voted on it. And guess what? 2/3 of the lawmakers voted against it. The main opposition comes from the communist parties. They have vehemently opposed a Hindu state. But another mainstream party is warming up to the idea, and that's the Nepali Congress. The top leadership still doesn't like the idea. But one faction does. In February, they launched a campaign to restore a Hindu state, and that's the key here. As long as mainstream parties disagree, this movement won't take off. But if they buy in, who knows? Stranger things have happened.